And what is up, everybody? Now, somebody posted on how apparently this Nigerian independent comic book company is, starting to get a little bit, starting to gain some ground, some mainstream stuff. And then he posted how there's finally going to be some African superheroes. And I was like, have you not heard of the Black Panther? Have you not heard of Storm from the X-Men? What are you talking about? There's no African superheroes. Okay. Now this even goes to the whole thing about how supposedly there are no black superheroes, and that's not true because I was like I don't need to go very far, to show you some blacks to tell you about some black superheroes. The thing is, people don't know where to look. Not to mention the fact that they're not even trying to look; they're just complaining. I mean, especially within the Marvel universe, goes no, you don't have to dig too deep to find Luke Cage, Falcon, and the Black Panther, and those aren't the only three black heroes within the Marvel universe. DC might have to might have to do a little bit more digging, but they got Icon because they bought out Milestone Comics. They got Icon, they got Hardware, they got Static. The new Firestorm. He's black. They made a black Aqualad, like which is some people like to refer to him as. There may not be like a vast abundance of these black superheroes. I mean, hell, Earth's third Green Lantern, from the Hal Jordan era. I'm talking about the Green Lantern Corps, was black, John Stewart, and he's a very prominent, very well known, and one of the main heroes within the DC universe. And for people to be like, there's no black superheroes, or there aren't enough black superheroes, you're not even. It's like you're not. Like I said, it's like you're not even trying to look. Somebody got into the debate with me, try to tell me like, oh yeah, try to show me one superhero team where a black guy was the leader. I was like, you remember Cops? The 1980s Cops, Central Organization of Police Specialists. I love the show. To this day, I still love the show. I especially love the toys. But who was the guy in charge? Bulletproof, a black man. Spawn, he's black. Let's see. Let's see what else you got. There have been 3 black Red Rangers within the Power Rangers. 3 black Red Rangers. So 3 black guys within the 20 years. There have been at least 3 black guys that, like, I have no idea who's leading the team now. They always try to make it as ethnically diverse as possible. I'm not even getting into the first season. The Yellow Ranger was Asian. The Black Ranger was a black guy, because even Walter Jones didn't even see it like that. Walter Jones was like, dude, I was just a black superhero. What the hell? It's like, what the hell do I care what color suit I'm wearing? So, for situations like that, obviously, they don't care. And guess what? He wasn't the last Black Ranger either. Okay, I know of at least one more. That being said, Power Rangers has always tried to be as ethnically diverse as possible. may the colors land where they may. There's been at least one Latino Red Ranger that I know of. Majority of them are white, but then again, we're supposedly minorities. So when they cast mostly white people, why are people offended? Not to mention, like how many black people, really try to audition for Power Rangers or something like that. Anthony Mackie being the Falcon. Somebody tries to tell me, I'm so glad Anthony Mackie was the Falcon. I was like, I'm just glad they had the Falcon in it, because anybody could have been the Falcon. It's not like, oh, Anthony Mackie was born to play that role or anything like that. No, any black actor they had could have played the Falcon. Anthony Mackie won, got the audition. But what I'm wondering is how many black actors actually went out of their way to try to, his age, mind you, or any up-and-comers or anything like that, actually tried going for that role. Why? Because probably a majority of them don't even read comic books. Not to mention they don't read comic books, that they're going to throw their 2 cents in. They're not even geeks. They don't watch science fiction stuff. They don't watch they don't read comic books. They don't watch the movies or anything like that. But they're the first people to say, "Oh, there aren't any black superheroes." Really. And it's stuff like this. Like I went to the Urban Action Showcase when it was for the 30th anniversary of The Last Dragon. And I was talking. I had a great conversation with Ty Mock, man. He's a great guy, seriously. But I had several conversations with him. But during the panel, like after the screening, during the panel, I had asked him, because there aren't that many positive black role models like him, because a majority of the black protagonist personas were exploitation films. These guys were pimps. They were drug dealers. They were dirty cops. Nothing positive about that. And The Last Dragon was like the anti-exploitation movie. It had basically this young black kid. It's not so much that he was trying to be Chinese, but that he had basically engulfed himself in this culture to the point where he thought it was normal, and he wasn't into sex, he wasn't into drugs, wasn't trying to get money, wasn't even trying to be popular or anything like that. He was just trying to better himself, and in doing so, he put himself in a position where he could help a few people out. However, there's not too many positive black heroes like that. Especially when you got young black kids looking up to Scarface, looking up to Nino Brown, looking up to the character that Denzel Washington played in American Gangster. Different things like that. So, I'm saying how there's not that many what is the deal with it, because it's not so much racism, and it's not so much that it's mainstream, because I would tell people it's not that there's not enough black heroes, it's that you don't know where to look. And prime example of that would be, I had pointed upstairs outside the theater to where my friends at Exmoor Studios, black comic book artist, very, very good artist, has this series out called Galto. Galto is basically it's basically Thunder the Barbarian minus the magic. It's basically a post-apocalyptic future where everything is back into the warrior class, and the people that the characters that he have, very complex. And this thing is very, very violent, but at the same time, it's a very intriguing story. But Why hasn't it gone mainstream? I mean, he's had several issues put out. Why hasn't it gone mainstream? He had test footage, 3D animated test footage of what the video game for this would look like. And the main character, Keelan Jakes, this guy, big black guy, bald. He has an eye patch. He's got a massive katana and basically giant claws, 3 blades, coming out of his gauntlet. So he's got the katana. He's got the set of 2, and he's got those claws. And he's just, the man is just a powerhouse. And they show the different things of the different kill moves that he can do and stuff like that, and it looked great. And presented this to different video game companies. They said, "We'll wait to see if it catches on. We'll wait to see if it catches on before we think about, putting a game out." So what was their excuse with God of War? What was their excuse with Assassin's Creed? I mean, nobody knew what there was no comic books or anything before that. There was no movies or anything before that, before these video games came out. I mean, if that's the case, like, what was the excuse for Uncharted or Tomb Raider, Crash Bandicoot? It's stupid that they do that. And as I was talking with Timok, it's racism, but not to the point. Like, it is. Make no mistake, it is racism, but again, not the type of racism that you think. It's kind of like Quentin Rampage Jackson put it best when he used to fight in Pride. He's like, I did like fighting in Pride a lot better than it did in UFC. And now, granted, yes, I had to, put up with a lot of racism in Pride, but it was a different kind of racism. They didn't hate me because I was black. They hated me because I wasn't Japanese. Believe it or not, it is a big difference, because it's not so much that the producers, the directors, the Hollywood bigwigs, it's not that they don't like black people, is that they can't relate. Therefore, they don't know how to market and or sell what you're doing. Granted, the exploitation stuff they got no problem putting out, but when it comes to something like they're trying to make a Last Dragon 2, and it's a big conflict with the rights, this, that, the other, but Timok's still on board, the original author's still on board, and trying to make the musical for it, because I mean, hell, one of the main things that a lot of people remember the Last Dragon for is the music. Now, when you got companies like Image, with my boys in Dorm World, friends of mine, they got this comic book. They got this book out called Battle Masters, where basically they crossed old school hip hop culture with Avatar: The Last Airbender. And needless to say, since it's hip hop culture, and a majority of the characters are all black. Okay. And as good as that comic book is, and as much as I believe in that story, one of the biggest problems is they don't have the money to put it out. Here you have a perfectly good example of black protagonists in a positive light, but they're underfunded. There's another company I know of, great artwork, and with the stuff that they do, but they're having problems going mainstream. Why? They don't have the money. Yet the majority of the black people that do have the money do stupid stuff with it. Wu-Tang Clan put out a comic book back in the 90s. It sucked. To have a hip hop comic like Battle Masters, where you make like I said, with the whole hip hop culture, you got the breaksmiths, which are break dancers. You got the spinsmiths, with the GJs, the grapsmiths, which are the graffiti artists, and the wordsmiths, which are the rappers. To have them all have their own different abilities and stuff like that, and all this thing to like mesh together. Like I said, hip hop culture and Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's just it's just mind blowing. Just thinking of the concept, and then for what's his name from Run DMC say, oh yeah, I'm coming out with my own comic book. This is the first hip hop comic book, dude. At best, you're third. At best, you're third. Where do you get off talking about how you're the first? And it's ignorance like that within not just the comic book, within the black communities as well as the comic book communities. And it's ignorance like that that's going to keep black superheroes out of the mainstream. Not so much that there aren't any black superheroes mainstream, but getting even more black superheroes mainstream. And I'm 100% Puerto Rican, and I know I look white. For me, I've had black friends try to tell me, my black friends be like, you don't know what it's like, to be judged by the color of your skin, this, that, the other. I say, yes, I do. And it was by black people. I've had black people, I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. A lot of my it's not like I keep counting how many black friends that I've had throughout my life. I've had plenty. And I don't mind having a few more. But as far as racism, I've never had white people hate me for being Puerto Rican. I've had Puerto Ricans hate me for thinking I was white. I've had Dominicans hate me for thinking that I was white. I've had black people hate me because they thought I was white. The more and more this more and more ignorance keeps going, you're never gonna see more black mainstream heroes. My friends at Exmore Studios, my friends at Dorm World, as much as I love them, because black people don't read their comics, because black people don't go out of their way to read these stories, because nobody's trying to help bring this stuff to the light so it can go mainstream, you're never going to see it on the big screens. You're never going to see it in the video games. You're never going to see it in the cartoons. Why? Because nobody's looking. It's not that there's no black superheroes. It's that nobody knows where to look, and they're not even trying. I'm done talking. You guys have a good night.